Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this episode 27 here on New Frontier with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, we've made it through the winter. It is April 1st. April 1st of year 5. So our farm has expanded pretty nicely, but it did take some time, like we're 5 years in now. And speaking of expansions, it expanded again over the winter. So we're going to take a look at that here in just a moment. I will share with you that our money is at pretty much an even 12 million right now. We're down, I don't think we were quite at 13 million. I don't recall. I maybe should have looked that up. But we're down about a million anyways from last fall or close to it. So let's jump in the old girl here. I got the old International out. Needed to haul a little seed for our project we're going to do here in a minute. So we'll take and use it for the tour. And I'll just leave you out of cab for this and maybe zoom out a little bit. So first, on the animal side of things, our cow pen, or our dairy pen, I should say, it's not quite full yet, believe it or not. We're at 120 out of 150 animals. So the next batch of births, though, I think will fill it up. But the big news there is that we now have enough mature animals that we're producing enough milk that we can keep our dairy running cheese full time, and we have enough extra over and above that we can make some bottled milk and butter for Grandma's bakery that she requires. So that is really good news there on that front. So we're going to make a little bit more extra money off of that when those other animals get mature. Now, I did spend a fair bit of money here on our livestock in our feedlot. Our breeding pens here, the top two pens, they're up to each have a little bit over 300 animals in currently. Now, I bought enough animals to take it up to 250. That other 50 is just organic growth. And what I do is I monitor the age of the animals in each pen. And as soon as the calves reach 6 months, they're taken, half of them, I should say, are taken out of these pens and moved into our feedlot. Half are left behind for organic growth. So that's why that's up to 300 now. Now our feedlot pens here, each of them are up to 200. And what I do is I've been buying 25 yearlings every month. And I want to get to the point where we have basically 25 out of each pen to sell every month. So for a total of 100 that we'll have available for sale. And then we will top up, replace those 25 either organically or by buying them each month. That process will just keep repeating. We'll sell 100 and put 100 back in one way or another. Now you can see there's a fair bit of manure hanging around on our manure plates here. And we do have enough manure now with the new animals we've added to run the BGA full time, 100% of the time with manure. We don't have enough slurry to keep it running 100% of the time, but manure we have plenty. Now we have over 500,000 liters of digestate, and I was originally thinking of putting that on the fields here, but you know what? I've kind of changed my mind on that. I think I'll just put it on selling and sell it off because we are making our own liquid fertilizer we basically get for free. We've got that big fancy sprayer and our fields are huge. So I just don't think we'll bother on this series doing that. That was originally my intention, but I think we'll just save that for another series on a little smaller farm. So I think I'll just put that on selling. And, that being the case, with the extra manure, I'll probably just sell it off too, I think. It's not worth a lot, but, I don't think we're going to need the money, to be honest with you. Now, I didn't show you up top the bale storage for bedding, but it's as empty as this one. Let me zoom in so we can get the tree. So I put in the last of our grass is in our production, and we ran out of straw for TMR. For the last couple months, I've had to buy straw for our TMR production. Last month, I put the last of our bedding bales in. Now, I haven't had to buy any bedding, but we are getting very close, and I will have to buy some because we're not going to have any straw for a few months here. So I'll have to start buying that. So we've run out of straw again. Now, I did make a change here. Now, I was using this production right here. I'll drive up beside it so you know what I'm talking about. This production right here, which is the um, ones where you can just add it into a building. Now, that's been supplying all of our TMR. It does work. It's fast. I will give it that. It's a fast production. It's a little finicky. Let's just put it that way. You can get bales to go in, but you're doing it one bale at a time basically. You can't dump them in with a stacking wagon. So what I did is I started using this production here, which was originally just put in for the building itself. I really wasn't planning on using it, but the bale trigger actually works pretty well. So I started using it as a giant bale shredder because I could get the bales in a lot more efficiently. This production here, the one we were using, the one on the side, the addable trigger one, it's fast, but it only holds 45,000 liters of basically all of the products that we use to make TMR save silage. For some reason, it'll hold 200,000 liters of silage, but hay and straw only 45,000 liters. And then, of course, it only holds 45,000 liters of TMR. What I did is I started drying a little hay in this other production because I'd get a little bit of a spot there where I'd be out of grass and wouldn't be making hay and be out of hay and wouldn't be making TMR. So I started making a little extra hay just so I never had a pause in production, if that makes sense. So what I had to do is I go down there, I grab bales, basically a stacking wagon load, dump them into my bale shredder, and then 45,000 liters at a time, I take out grass to put into this production to dry down and make silage and TMR. And then once it made 45,000 liters of TMR, I take it out of here and go and distribute it and then put more grass in. That's how it had to go. So there's a lot of shuffling of materials. If I was here on the farm for a long day, I could make 4 batches. I started just making 3 because I just needed to reduce the time. Because one quirk with this production, it, at least on this map, does not make anything when you sleep through the night. When you sleep through the night, you end up in the morning with pretty much exactly where you were at, which is a bit unusual, I find. So I had to be on the map and I had to just advance time. And I also found that kind of once I got up to about 10 times speed, it didn't seem to be any advantage to run it any faster than that. It just wouldn't produce any TMR any quicker. So it meant that I had to sit here and wait for this production, basically 3 times a day to get my TMR. That took a lot of time off camera, let me tell you. All that messing around with that. So what I decided to do is we were also getting where 3 batches wasn't going to be enough for much longer. Basically, we weren't gaining much in our pens as far as TMR goes. We were pretty much eating that up now with our cattle we had on hand. So I put this mixer in. I modernized our production. Now this is just a mixer, so you have to put hay, silage, straw, mineral feed in. It's not as fast as the one on the other side, but it holds 150,000 liters of every component, say mineral feed. And the other benefit is when I sleep through the night, it keeps producing. So when I came in in the morning, I would have 150,000 liters or 3 batches ready to be distributed. And I could come in, just do my chores. And while I was doing my other chores around the farm, it would easily I ran both productions at the same time. I still kept this one on the other side going. One or the other would have another full load. So I was getting 4 batches a day without having to do any sitting around or waiting. So that's what I did actually last month. I put that in. So that's been working out pretty good. And so now I can increase our herd, like I said, so that I have 100 for sale every month. Where just with this production here, I wasn't going to be able to do that. I did need a little bit more. So just a lot more efficient for off camera. So our buffalo pen's been full for a while, and they do not make enough milk that I can run the buffalo cheese full time. I just it's a part time deal, and that's the same for the goats. The goat pen is full, and I just run part time goat cheese when we've got milk available. Chicken pen's been full for a while. Of course, eggs go into the bakery and then the excess gets sold. And the pig pen actually just filled up recently. And I actually had to sell last month 25 pigs to make room for the new births. Now, the pigs I was planning on selling when they were 18 months old as well, same as the cattle. But the batch I sold off were only 12 months old, but I wanted to make room for those new births. And so I sold a few off that way. Okay, I think that brings you up to speed down here. Let's go take a look at our fields. I'll zoom out here a little bit for this. So the trees obviously are all gone, and I paid or received, I should say, $100,000 in stumpage from Tim for taking the trees out. So that's the benefit to us. Now this field here is the one where I was marking the trees last episode, as you might recall. And I had Tim take the trees out of here first. So, because I did an analysis of, whoa, driving over the crop there a little bit. I did an analysis of what crops we needed for all our production. And it turns out one of the crops we need the most of is wheat. It's used in a lot of productions. And so I wanted this field available so that we could put in wheat last fall. I didn't want to have to wait an additional year because I determined we definitely didn't have enough wheat in the ground. So I had Tim do these ones first, and I got the wheat back in here in the fall. Now that's where I did spend some money is buying this land down here. If you take a look at the map here, actually, and you can see that is the land we now own on the farm. Pretty good chunk. And so now you can see here's our field 49 with our island in it. Field 48, that's our rice field. And I am going to take and field 50 here. Uh, can't remember what's in there. Does this tell us canola? So that canola field, I actually am going to extend it here to this to the. It's going to end at the same place field 49 ends, and field 58 is going to get extended down into this area, field 57, where we're parked right now, for grass. So this is going to be expansion to our grass field down in here, but we're going to lose a little bit in here. I just want to make the canola field larger. And I don't think we're going to need the grass because we have a tiny little bit of grass left right now in our production, but our grass is ready to mow. That's something we need to do this month. So we have just about the perfect amount of grass for the cattle we have. We're not going to add too many more, so I think we'll be good on the grass front. Now, swing down here. So ahead of us there, you can see our rice field. So we're going to put long grain rice in here, and we're actually going to plant that together here in just a little bit. Um, Interestingly enough, this field always has some fog around it. I think that's maybe because the rice fields typically always have water in them. I'm just speculating on that, but for some reason, especially in the two corners that are ahead of us, where I took the most land out, they're pretty much always foggy down in there. But that's going to be a permanent rice field, and that is going to go into Grandma's bakery, and that along with wheat is what she's going to run on her bakery. Those are the last two products actually we haven't put in the bakery, and to fulfill a kind of challenge I set for myself, we're going to put those in there, and that's what we're going to run on an ongoing basis. Now, trees are out of here, and we are going to expand this field here in front of us now into that area. And we're actually going to join these two fields on this side of the road together for one large field. So we're going to have three pretty good sized fields down in this area. But like I said, I did an analysis of what crops we need, and that should work out just fine. Now the rest of the changes were down here. So I'll just leave you out of cab here and try and dodge the trees best I can. Oh, yeah, we got rid of some fog. That's nice. Okay, so down here, um, I plowed, what was it, field 1 and 2 together. Now, they were two rectangular fields, one running north-south, one running east-west. I just plowed them out to make a square. And this is our largest vegetable field. And so carrots are going to go in here because we need carrots is one of two primary crops we need for our pig food production. So that's what's going to go in there. You'll see a new building here. I put a new shop in. This is where we're going to keep all our vegetable related equipment is going to sit in here. And this is field, what was it? Let's just pop out again. This was field 3 and 4. Now you can see our shop is actually sitting on where field 3 was. I made a new field 3, so it was a larger field. So that's the one we're looking at right now. And then this is field 4 over here. Now I haven't decided which vegetables are going to go in which field yet. Um, just haven't thought about it other than the biggest one is carrots. But we're going to put carrots, parsnips, spinach, and red beet in. So I think these will end up being spinach and maybe, I don't know, red beet or parsnips. I think they both yield pretty good. And then this field over here by the sawmill's a little bit smaller. We'll put one of the root crops in here. This one will definitely either be parsnip or red beet. Probably whichever one yields the greatest amount liters per acre. I'll figure that out. But these fields are all prepped and ready to go. You can see the pile of logs that Tim inherited with the sawmill. All right, so seeding is what we're going to start with. We're going to start with the carrots. I can go in cab now because I think that is everything. So buying those fields, doing the landscaping for the um, rice field, like I said, it was 300,000, a little bit north of there actually. That's where the $1 million went, and the shed, and of course the addition to the production. But surprisingly, with the increased milk production and production in our BGA, our farm has been able to stay about even. It just either dips a little below the 12 million mark or a little above, depending on when I sold that or sold the products, and I have enough money just to buy the calves and pay the other expenses. We're running about a break even pace, and if we weren't buying animals, we'd actually be increasing. But that number is going to go down here again. Actually, I should have left the truck down at the shop, but it doesn't matter. Down at our shop, I should say. But let's go in and order us up some equipment here for our vegetables. Now, I was thinking, I am starting to get a tiny bit of lag sometimes, especially around the home place when I got a lot of equipment out. Actually, if we back out of here for a second, if we look at this, you can see we got a lot going on here around the home place. So yeah, it can get a little laggy down here. I find it if I keep equipment in the shop and the shop doors closed if I'm not using it, it's pretty good. But anyway, the purpose of saying all that was I was thinking to minimize the lag, I'm just duplicating this tractor here for our vegetables. I wanted to have a tractor down here that I just leave for vegetable work so I don't have to always bring tractors from the main farm. And they're, other than the big tractors, the little tractors are pretty much used on a daily basis. So what we're going to do though is I think because it's going to stay down here and it's not laggy in this area, we're okay. And we're going to buy ourselves a new case for down here just to use for vegetables. Like the white tires. Yes, we'll throw some fenders on here to keep our windows clean. And I do want a front weight. And that should be good. So we're going to buy that. And we need a vegetable. Oh, back one more. Oops, that's too far back, Farmer Murphy. Oh, no, that's the wrong menu. Goodness. Come on. We need a vegetable planter right here. And this is the biggest one we can get, 6 meters. It only takes 70 horsepower to run it, and that new tractor we bought has 140, so should be good. And we got the front weight. So we are going to buy that. And that'll plant all the vegetables that we're going to put in. Now, vegetables don't take a whole lot of seed, so I just got one pallet of seed in here. We should be good. So let me get this set up down at our carrot field, and we will start putting some carrots in the ground. That's where we'll start. So I'll catch up with you in just a second. Okay, so we are here at our carrot plot. I was able to fill the seeder up just by driving next to the truck. I was hoping that would work, and it did, so that's nice. You can see it only holds 32 liters of seed, but it actually goes a fair distance, I think. Now I've got the HUD on here because we are going to use uh, steering assist to do this. And I think 2 headlands should be fine. Here just a tiny little bit. And away we go. Now we can take a look in cab here while we make this run. Pretty nice little tractor. And you know what? This might be our first brand new tractor on the farm now, come to think of it. I think everything else we've bought has been used. So there we go. Now I did check how much time I'd spent on that update. I did take a couple cracks at it to get it down, but it's still like 20 minutes. If I talked any faster, I don't think he would have understood me. I'll try and cut some of that out, but that doesn't leave us a whole lot of time for this planting part of our program. Now, I was originally thinking of using the Ridger, but then I got thinking, I'm just basing it on the gardens that we've always had, which are just for home use. They're not commercial or anything like that. But the only thing we ever ridged up, oops, grabbed the line there, Farmer Murphy, was the potatoes, like carrots and spinach and all of that. We just planted, on flat ground. So that's why I decided to do that. And to be honest, to save some time. It obviously wasn't a money issue, but it was just to save time for doing this. But I guess maybe in like a commercial operations, seeing as Giants provided it, like in those large, like say commercial farmers may ridge up all their vegetables, but that's why I decided not to do it. Save a little time, and justification being, wow, we never did it in our gardens. Pretty thin, I know, but that's what I'm going with. Oh, did I shut it off again? I did. Oh, there we go. Now, I really was surprised that after we got rid of the logging operation, that the farm still, I wouldn't say it actually moved forward, but it stayed pretty much on par financially or money-wise. It was kind of running a break-even operation. And like I said, we would have been ahead if we weren't buying cattle. Um, really did surprise me because we made a lot of money off of that sawmill, and I thought that's what was, you know, keeping us afloat. We were pretty much, um, oh, sorry, I was just watching what it was doing there. A break-even operation, or not a lot of ahead of break-even when we had the sawmill running. So it does answer the question: are we going to be able to get back to $13 million? And even with spending like the money on this expansion, and we need to buy $1 million worth of harvesters here to harvest all these vegetables. Uh, yeah, there's no doubt because we're going to have cattle to sell here pretty soon. Then we're going to have pigs too that we're going to sell on a fairly regular basis. I'm hoping that's why I sold off 25 to make room for these bursts because I have bought some pigs in rather large numbers, so I just wanted to break those up, and so we had lots of 25 as well in the pig pen. That's the only reason I did that, because we have a couple lots of 75, so I was just going to work them down. So we have 25 available to sell at a time. Oops, wrong button. Now I think we are probably only going to do 2 or 3 more episodes on here. Um, Obviously, we're going to show the harvesting of these vegetables and the rice crops, and we're going to look at some cattle sales and see how the money increases. But I think, the question, will we be able to get back to 13 million? Will we make money? Absolutely, no doubt about it. Because we're going to gain just on our productions, even though we're not pushing them really hard. Uh, we're going to gain money every month, and then we're going to add cattle sales on top of that, and that's not going to be an insignificant amount. 100 cattle, we're going to be selling them close to 2,000 or maybe even a little above. So that's going to be a lot of money coming in every month just from the cattle, the sale of the beef themselves. And every month we'll have to buy less and less livestock to replace them as our breeding pens kick in. But this series here, although I do enjoy it, it is a ton of off-camera time, even more than Monteith, just because of all the animals that we have and what it takes to look after them. We're up over 350 hours on this now. We're ticking rapidly towards 400 actually. So that's also influencing my decision. And we've been on here since near the beginning of FS25, so it's been a long time we've been playing on this map. So I think it's time to do something different. And we pretty much or I should say, I've pretty much met all of the goals that I wanted to meet, and definitely going to have a very profitable, primarily beef farm, but ended up with a few more productions than I actually had it originally intended, but that's just where the story led us, so that's all good. There were some other things I was hoping to try out on here, like the swathing, but I think we'll just save that. Like I said, don't want to end up going through FS25 and just playing, 3-4 maps. And I have gotten myself into, we've got Monteith, which is a fair ways from being wrapped up. Uh, but then I've got myself in that Zero to Hero challenge as well, and that's going to be a lot of off-camera work. So lots on the go here on the channel, actually. And I'm really feeling pressure right now in real life for recording time, so kind of a bad combination. Now, I do know carrots, I think they yield pretty high. I'm hoping we get enough off of this field that we can make the pig food that we require and still have some to sell to the farmer's market. And that's what we're going to do with all our vegetables. We're not going to store them or wait for best price. We're going to sell them to the farmer's market as fresh vegetables. And if they want to preserve them, well, that's going to be up to them. So it would take quite a while to pay back the investment in in particular the harvesters. This seeding setup's not terribly expensive, and the fields themselves weren't a crazy amount of money. It's the harvesters, and realistic, you probably just contract that out, in an operation this size. But we've got the money, we can pay cash for them, so we're just going to buy them. And quite honestly, I haven't even been looking for them used. I was thinking, well, we can afford it, we'll just buy brand new ones. I don't know how long these little vegetable plots we have here would take to pay that investment back. Quite a while, I'm thinking, but the farm as a whole, yeah, it's doing all right. Like I said, we've even got excess manure we can sell. It's not worth a lot, I admit, but we can sell it off, and we'll sell off the digestate. All of that adds money to the coffers. So I think that's what kind of the focus will be of the follow-on episodes, is just to kind of get a feel for how fast that money is going to come back up, and of course show off our new harvesters that we have for vegetables, and get the rice in and get the wheat in the bakery, because those are two products we still need to run through the bakery. But that'll be kind of the emphasis on the next episodes, is just tidying up the loose ends. Actually, let's do a little of this in cab here. See, we've only used 30% of the seed, even though there was only 32 liters in there. And I think that's the case for all the vegetables. It doesn't use very much. I really don't have any plans now to expand down here anymore with any new houses or anything. Like I said, it's kind of, once I get that grass field reconfigured, I think we're going to be at status quo as far as the farms go. That'll be the final shape of things. Now, I haven't checked it out, but I think our Valtra planter can, like just a standard planter, can plant rice. So that's what I'm hoping. I don't think we need to buy anything to get the rice in. It'll either be either a seeder or a planter, I'm pretty sure. Now, I don't think we need to roll these. Actually, let's stop here. Let's jump out and check to see, does it need rolling? Nope. So we don't need to roll them, but we do need to throw some fertilizer on them. But we'll do that once the crops come out of the ground. Now, I think all of these fields were plowed. Yes, they were. So we shouldn't get any weeds. So we don't have to worry about weeds this go around. Now these fields, I didn't think to mulch them. So um, we'll lose a little bit. Not much if you don't mulch them. I don't think you lose a lot, but we'll lose some yield there. I was sitting here thinking, so maybe we'll do an episode, obviously, when harvest time comes around for these. And then maybe I'll just run to the following harvest and we'll do one there. And that'll kind of give us a measure of where the farm is at after a year in its final configuration. That's signing myself up for a lot of off-camera work, but we don't have, like, through the winter we won't have nearly as much to do, and with that new TMR production, that won't be as bad as this past winter was. So I can probably whip through fairly quickly. But anyways, I think after this row, I should leave you there and we'll get set up to do that rice. Um, because I don't want this episode to get too long. And actually, I probably won't even finish seeding this field. I'll just stop and leave this here. We'll go and get that rice planted because that'll go pretty fast with not that big a field, and you got a fairly good sized planter. And then we can get that field flooded. I think we can flood it immediately after we've seeded it, I believe. We'll find out. So I think I'll leave you there, and I'm going to stop this process, and I'm going to leave it here, and I'll finish it up off camera. And let's go get set up to do some rice, shall we? So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so we're set up here to do the rice. As you can see, we're using our planter. It will plant the long grain rice for us. But I thought I should probably share what the crop plan is, seeing as you're not going to be here for all of the seeding slash planting this spring. So the easiest way to do that, I think, is take a look at the map here. We need 179,000 liters of wheat is what I've calculated. So going forward, the mega field here, which would be 40, 41, 42, when they get all combined, that's going to be a wheat field. We need 100,000 liters each of carrot and what was it? Canola, wasn't it? Yeah, carrot and canola. So our expanded field 50 here, which currently has canola in it, is going to be our canola field. We need 49,000 liters of soybean. So we're going to put that in 49 here, will be our soybean field. We need 40,000 liters of corn. So 43 is going to stay as our corn field because we got 100,000 liters off of that. So that's going to work perfect. And field 60 down here is going to be overflow. It'll either be more canola or more wheat. I'm thinking it'll likely be canola. We'll just have to see what we get off of field 50, our current canola field, and kind of take an educated guess whether we are going to have more of a requirement for the wheat or canola. And of course, whatever crop we end up short on, we're just going to buy. So I kind of like to make sure we have enough canola because it's more expensive to buy than the wheat. That is our crop plan. So that's what the farm will look like in its final configuration. But I'm going to, of course, move towards that as quickly as I can. But of course, this field here we're in, it's going to stay rice. We're not going to change it. So let's get, I guess we better turn the fender on. We better lower it down, grab a line, and away we go. So I looked it up while I took the little break there, and it turns out we cannot flood this field until after we've fertilized it when the crop has emerged. So we are not going to be able to do that this episode. I was hoping we were, but that's not going to happen. So what I'll do is I will record that when it does happen next month, and then I'll insert it in the next episode. So we will get to see it. It'll just come up as a flashback, I'm thinking. And I was thinking about what we're going to kind of wrap things up. So one thing I want to record for sure is the vegetables and rice harvest. I don't know if they happen at the same time, but that'll likely be an episode when we do that. And I want to record our first major cow sale. Our first cow sale, I think, is 3 months away, I believe it is. But I think that's only going to be 50 head. I only put 25 in each of the first pens to start out with, if I remember correctly. So depending on where that timing lands, if it would be awesome if I could do the first 100 head sale and the harvest in the same episode. Well, we'll just have to see how that works out. May or may not work. And then once we've got that harvest done and the cow sale done, I'm pretty sure the harvest will be the last of those items or activities. There's the word I was looking for. Then my plan is I'll run the farm for a year. It'll be in its final form, and we'll take and see where we're at financially from running it for a full calendar year. And that'll from there we'll be able to know if we're not back at the 13 mil mark, how long it would take it in the form it was at to get there. And that's where we'll leave it. So that'll either be 2 or potentially 3 episodes. Oops, didn't need to shut it off, need to lift it up there, Farmer Murphy. Because we've been on this map from very early as soon as it came out, basically, in FS25. And I think it was one of the first modded maps out, if I recall. So we've been on here a while. And like I said, we're on our 5th year here on the farm. And I'm knocking on the door of 400 hours, I think, on this map now. So I think it is time to do something else. And I do have something else kind of in mind, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But the next series, in any event, will be kind of the opposite of this. We'll have a much smaller operation. But there are some things that lend itself to a large map that I do want to do, and I was kind of thinking of doing it on here, but I think it's time to do something else. We don't want to just do 2 or 3 maps over the life of FS25 for sure. I was thinking of doing the Bordeaux, and I was going to do some swathing. And I think we'll leave both of those because I am going to do a more scaled down farm next time for the next series. But then before we run out of FS25, I'd like to do a series on 4X map. And so I think we'll save those for there. Although, wait, oh shoot, I don't know why I keep shutting it off instead of lifting it up. Not enough coffee this morning, maybe. Nothing says we can't do swathing on a smaller farm too. So. But those are, anyways, things that I don't think we're going to do on here. But if I do a 4X map, it won't be a start from scratch. We'll start with a reasonably well-established farm so that we can grow big a lot quicker. But that's a ways down the road. That's not going to be next because I've got a big operation on the go on Monteith, and then the Zero to Hero challenge is going to end up being a fairly good size operation. That's why I say the next one's definitely going to be a bit smaller. And the reason too for that is there's a lot less off-camera time, I'm thinking, when you're working on a little bit smaller operation. And I can't have everything that I'm doing involve a ton of off-camera time. I realized that was a bit of a mistake. One thing I should have done is staggered the two series. Like Monteith and this didn't start all that far apart, and I should have been like closer to the midpoint on this one and then start Monteith, because any new series, at least I find, there's less off-camera time initially, because I've kind of gotten where like this and Monteith both require a fair bit of off-camera time, although this is worse than Monteith for sure, probably because of the animals. Well, not probably, but because of the animals, because a field size, I think this is probably a little bigger than Monteith right now, but Monteith is rapidly catching up, but I don't have a bunch of animal work that I need to do. Like through the winter, I literally just jump right through the winter. We're here, I got to spend a fair amount of time looking after the animals through the winter season as well. Although that new production will definitely help with that a little bit. Cut down the winter hours significantly, and no more logging. There's not going to be any more winter logging, so that'll really help. So that year where I run it off camera isn't going to be nearly as bad as what, like, say, this winter was. It was fairly busy. I've got enough room to get swung around here. I think I do. Oh, yes. Boy, and you saw, I showed you that, like, this looked like it was reasonably flat, but you can see I had to do a fair bit of landscaping to get this field in here. It turns out it's not the most efficient use of ground doing it, putting a rice field in on a slope like this. Unless, of course, I guess I could have done just made it a total cliff. But I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to kind of blend it in a little bit more. So I, if I just put a standard crop field in that did need to be flattened, I couldn't need it. a larger field out of it. Oops, forgot to grab the line there, Farmer Murphy, first before you got all excited. And truth be told, we actually own back into those trees a little ways, but they're just so thick. I did not want to take them out, but we could have gone that way a little ways and made the field even larger. But this is going to be it. I'm really curious how much we get off of it. It's fairly valuable. It's got a fairly high price, so it's going to yield pretty poorly compared to other crops. So I hope at least we get 20,000 liters off of this field so we can fill the bakery up one time with it. I mean, it's a fairly good size. I'll just be curious. If I have to grow 2 crops to get 20,000 liters. Now, I'm not thinking we're going to, after we do the vegetable harvest, we're going to do any other equipment upgrades or changes. Everything we have works pretty good. And everything we have gets used a fair bit. Like, what's this tractor got? 22 hours on it. And I think it was, what, 9 or 10 hours only? It was pretty low hours, actually, when it came up used. And it's a tractor we don't use as much compared to the others. It does this job. I sometimes use it to pick up bales just because it's the only tractor available. It kind of basically its main use is to drag this planter around. Like the Case Pro, I can't remember, the 72 something or other, I can't remember the number of it. That's probably the tractor that's got the most hours and we use the most, because it does all our animal feeding. Because it's pulling that 45,000 liter trailer around, and that's the trailer too I use to move the manure, so it does all that animal work, and then it's my main baling tractor is kind of the jobs it does. The old International, it does it. Like I feed the chicken, feed the pigs, move some crop to the production where I use that 8,000 liter trailer. It's not, it's used around the yard, but not a lot. And I had entertained taking that down and using that one for the vegetables because it worked just fine. But I do use it enough. I thought, it'd be a pain, bringing it back and forth. And it has a fairly low road speed, so that's why I decided to put another tractor down there. And then our 300 horsepower Case, it does all the mowing, sometimes a little bit of the baling if the other tractor's tied up. It's got a fair number of hours on it too. That tractor and this one are kind of the catch-all. They don't have, well, I guess that's not entirely true. This one has a dedicated job. It always pulls this planter. And I guess the other Case always does the mowing. So I guess they do have dedicated jobs. And then pretty much leave the Pro hooked on the trailer unless there's baling, and I'll use it. Of course, the big boy does all the plowing, all the cultivating, runs the grain cart, so it gets used a fair bit too. Oh, this tractor here, I do the rolling with too, actually, now that I think about it. This sort of the big quad track, but if this is available, I use this one. I maybe should have done one more headland actually. I think I'll try and remember that for next time. Just with that berm there that holds the water in. It would have been a little handier. I wouldn't have to run over that berm all the time. Well, folks, I should probably leave you there. This is going to be a fairly long episode, I'm thinking. Really nothing special here. No different than planting corn, for that matter. It doesn't look any different. As I said, other than we got to run over that berm in the end. So I will take a video of the flooding of the field and throw that in the next episode. But for this one, I think I'll leave you there. So we'll see you at a vegetable/rice harvesting time. I never did look. I hope they happen at about the same time. And if not, we'll just make it work one way or another. So if you're still with me, I really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. But for this episode here on New Frontier, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.